We are live.
We're live. Check it out. Barbecue Pit. We're back. UFC 266. Two fight title fight card. Back with Easy E in the building. Hair slick
What
back.
up?
You know
Yes,
what
sir.
it is. We're gonna jump
Throwing
into
it
it
out.
quick because we got the tennis series coming up. First fight: Jessica Andrade, Cynthia Calvillo. Tell me what's up.
Man, this is a fight. Probably whoever wins this fight is going to get the next title shot against the winner of Shevchenko, Lauren Murphy, which is later on the card. You got Jessica Andrade, who recently lost to Shevchenko, kind of dominating fashion, took her down, ended up beating her up on the ground until she had the fight stop, in that crucifix position. Andrade's fighting Cynthia Calvillo, who's just like a real all-around good fighter. She likes to strike. She likes to submit. She's got a pretty high submission average, although she doesn't really go for takedowns too often. So I think she's kind of the type where she welcomes the fight getting there, so she can kind of go for a submission. Now, Andrade's definitely the type that she feels like you're contested really well in the striking. She'll definitely go for a power takedown, coming from like a strong wrestler background. So, I mean, it's a really interesting fight stylistically. Andrade, man, they call her the tiny female Vanderlei Silva because the way she strikes, huge power hooks kind of coming down from her waist. She can knock anybody out if she can hit them. So in that sense, it could be a really rough night for Cynthia Calvillo without having much threat of a takedown from her of her own. A fight like this is hard to pick who's going to win. I want to lean towards Andrade just because what we've seen from her, the type of fight she's been in, her win over Rosa Namajunas, where she was able to, once she started getting outstruck, work for a takedown and get it down and slam her and win that way. Her win over Katlyn Chookagian, who actually has beaten Cynthia Calvillo by decision in mostly a stand-up fight by body shot TKO. So it's kind of a hard fight to have a really strong opinion on, but I'm definitely leaning towards Jessica Andrade being the more dangerous fighter.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the more dangerous fighter. And Andrade's 1-1 since moving to flyweight. Her only loss to Shevchenko. Calvillo, I think, I can't remember when she moved. Didn't she just move to flyweight too? She's pretty new to the division as well. But her only two.
I think she used to be at 115. So yeah, I'm not sure when, but I know she fought Carlos Barza back in the day at 115.
Yeah. Calvillo, her only two losses is Katlyn Chookagian, who we spoke about the fight with Andrade, and then Carlos Barza in 2017. Like you said, very well-rounded fighter. She recently moved her camp from, or not recently, I guess it was last year sometime, from Alpha Male to AKA with Dan Cormier and those guys. Andrade, her last fight in April was that TKO loss, I believe, to Shevchenko, right? Or no, right?
Yeah.
Was it Shevchenko her last fight? Yeah. 1-3 in her last four. She has the most fights in women's UFC history. She's a veteran of the UFC, but and she definitely is the most dangerous with her knockout power and her jiu-jitsu strength. I think Calvillo has really good wrestling, but I think Jessica Andrade is obviously going to be coming in a little bit shorter, low to the ground, good takedown defense, and a lot of power in her hands. So I agree with you there. Jessica Andrade, I'm going to probably go finish, to be honest, but I could see it going to full distance.
Knockout TKO.
It probably favors Calvillo more going to decision.
Yeah,
The longer
I agree.
Fight, it favors Calvillo more.
Mm-hmm. I agree for sure. Next fight, we got Curtis Blaydes versus Josino Rosenstruik. What you got, Stat Man?
Blaydes is 14-3-1, 10 wins by knockout, all 3 losses via knockout. Those 3 losses, Derek Lewis and then Francis Ngannou twice. The Lewis fight was his last fight. That was in February. Biggest wins of Curtis Blaydes' career: Alexander Volkov, Junior Dos Santos, Justin Willis, Mark Hunt, Alexei Oleinik, way back early in his UFC days. Rosenstruik obviously going to come in the better striker. 76-8 pro kickboxing record, 12-2 in MMA. Both his losses come to Ngannou and Cyril Gane. 11 out of 12 of his wins via knockout. His biggest wins, though, in the UFC are against Augusto Sakai, JDS, Gino Santos, Alistair Overeem, and Andre Arlovski. I think it's a classic. Striker versus grappler. Curtis Blaydes has shown that he's able to take big guys down and hold them down. It's not a big issue for Curtis Blaydes. And Rosenstruik has kind of shown that, his weakness is when other guys get started quick. With the Francis Ngannou fight, Gane fight, they were both able to attack quickly and
Sure.
kind of expose that part of Rosenstruik's defense. So just based on that wrestling, I'm going to go Curtis Blaydes for my pick.
Yeah, man. Curtis Blaydes good, man. He's really, really good. The knockout losses against Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou, I think, kind of tainted the way people look at him a little bit. But you got to think these are two of the hardest punchers ever in the sport. Ngannou, current champ, basically walked through everybody he fought up until, he went against the champ at the time. He touches you, you're toast. So he got a good touch in both fights against him. Derek Lewis, while he's not like the most athletic guy and most technical guy, he's got crazy good timing with that power punch. So he's able to time that uppercut he was looking for, knowing that Blaydes is a takedown guy. So, I really think those two losses, either of those guys touch your chin, you're done. And he just got a chin touch that can happen to anybody. Jairzinho Rozenstruik is another guy who could do that to somebody. Big power striking ability, really, really technical. But what I haven't been too fond of with Rozenstruik lately is that he seems real gun shy. Like he doesn't want to fire off really well. Even when he beat Augusto Sakai, it kind of looked like at first it was going to happen again. Not again. That was before the Cyril Gane fight. So what happened in the Cyril Gane fight where he basically got picked apart the whole time looked like it was about to happen with Sakai until he unleashed on him. So Rozenstruik's kind of one of those guys, man. And even when he fought Alistair Overeem, he was losing that whole fight. Kind of didn't seem all that impressive, but then kind of randomly was able to get that finish with that big punch right at the end. Definitely the type of guy who could take advantage of Curtis Blaydes being predictable. But, man, Blaydes, when he gets you down, he lays on top of you. He kind of Khabibs you a little bit, makes you tired, makes you carry his weight. And I could definitely see him doing it to somebody like Jairzinho Rozenstruik all fight long.
Absolutely.
I'm with you on that, man. I got Curtis Blaydes by submission, maybe decision. It could definitely go all the way because, Jairzinho's tough, but definitely got Curtis Blaydes being able to dominate the fight with his wrestling.
Yeah, maybe even by TKO. We've seen Curtis Blaydes be able to take guys down and just ground and pound them to finishes.
Yeah, for sure.
Time, so
it kind of just depends on what Rozenstruik's able to do once he's down, which we haven't really seen too much of. So how the fight goes, but I'm definitely leaning towards Curtis Blaydes being able to get it done. For sure.
Yeah. Next fight, Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler. I got breaking news on that fight. You're not on Twitter, buddy, so you don't know this, but Ariel Helwani just announced that fight will be taking place at middleweight now instead of welterweight. Just got changed.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. I like that.
Just got changed today. Yeah, I love it too. Any less weight cut, man. These guys are going to come in fresher. It's going to be more of exciting of a fight.
For sure. Yeah. No, their first fight back in the day, was that at middleweight?
Huh?
Their first fight back in the day, do you know, was that at middleweight?
No, I think it was welterweight.
Was it? Okay. Because I know Lawler used to fight middleweight. I think Nick's fought middleweight a couple times, so I wasn't sure. But word. All right, go.
What's the matter?
Go for it. What you got?
Your sound's a little down. I can't really hear you that well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hold on. How about now?
A little bit better.
A little bit better?
A little bit better, yeah. But, all right, so I got Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler. Nick Diaz, 26-9-2, winless since 2011. His last fight was a no contest, originally a decision win for Anderson Silva. That was 2015. So 6 years out of combat competition. 13 out of 26 of his wins via knockout, 8 of them by submission. Never been submitted in his career, and he is coming in the fight 38 years old, going up against a 39-year-old Robbie Lawler, who is also winless since his decision win over Donald Cerrone in 2017. He's on a 4-fight losing streak right now, losing submissions to Ben Askren and then decisions to Rafael dos Santos, dos Anjos, Kobe Covington, and Neil Magny in August of 2020, which was his last fight. So he's looking at about a little over a year layoff for Robbie Lawler. 28, 15-1, 20 knockouts. Robbie Lawler's MO for his whole career has been power striking. He's going up against Nick Diaz, who, when he was fighting, had a really good chin, great jiu-jitsu. So if he wants to take the fight there, I'm actually going to be really, really interested to see what Nick Diaz does. If he comes out the same brawl and boxing type of fighter he was before the layoff, or if he comes out and just relies heavily on his jiu-jitsu, because, I mean, no matter what, 2011, 2015, 2021, Nick Diaz got better jiu-jitsu than Robbie Lawler. You know what I'm saying? Any day, any year, it doesn't matter. He's going to be able to out-grapple him as far as jiu-jitsu goes. And, you know, if Ben Askren was able to submit Robbie Lawler, Nick Diaz's chance of submitting him are fucking through the roof. I know how that fight went. I know everything that happened. He didn't tap out, really, but he got himself in the position. You get yourself in that kind of position with Nick Diaz, he's not going to let go. You know what I mean?
No.
So,
and he's gonna like switch to a Darce or something like that. Really choke you out. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to determine how the fight's going to go because, you know, Nick Diaz being off for that long is just, it's hard to judge what he's going to be like when he's coming back. Now, you look at his activity outside of the octagon and stuff like that, and he's triathlons. He keeps his cardio up. You know, cardio is not going to be an issue for him coming in here. It's just going to be, you know, is his chin going to be the same? Is his boxing going to be as crisp? We're not going to know, but I'm a Diaz fan, and I'm going to biasly pick Diaz in every fight that either one of them is in until they retire or die. One of the two.
All right. So, yeah, I know you definitely want Diaz to win. In a way, I want Diaz to win, too, because I think if he loses now to Robbie Lawler, kills any chance of a fun fight for Nick Diaz in the future, which is what we all want to see. You know, people are saying he's going to get a title shot if he beats up Robbie Lawler or something like that. Kamaru Usman even said it. Come on, man. I mean, do we really think Nick Diaz is going to become a champion at this point? I don't. I don't think many people do, but I think he's got tons of potential for fun fights in the future, fan-friendly fights against guys like maybe like Jorge Masvidal or things like that. You know, that are going to be banger fights, really entertaining. Go for it.
Listen to it. It's got a strong source. Chael Sonnen has the source that says 100% Nick Diaz wins. From Nick Diaz's mouth, if he wins, he calls out Khabib Nurmagomedov to come out of retirement. 100%.
Where you at, Khabib?
Yeah. From somebody very close to Nick Diaz saying that he said it himself. He was going to do it after.
Okay. Khabib, going to respond on Twitter. No, I do not like marijuana, guys.
You don't do drugs. Drugs?
Yeah. Man, okay, man. So about this fight, you know, love Nick Diaz. Everybody loves Nick Diaz. Old school, gangster, always in a fun fight. Tough as nails, good jiu-jitsu, good boxing, antics, taunts, shit talking, all, you know, the whole nine. I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum for you, though, as far as bias, man. I love Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler has always been one of my favorite fighters. When I first started kind of really paying attention to the sport is when he was kind of making his rise in the second stint of the UFC before he became champion. And I always just love his tenacity, his ruthlessness, as his namesake goes. The thing about Nick Diaz being off for so long and only having that one fight in 10 years against Anderson Silva where he got, you know, robbed by the judges badly, you know, clearly won that fight, but, you know, robbed really bad against Anderson Silva. Definitely won all 5 rounds.
Who?
Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly robbed, right? Bad.
Yes.
And they scored at 50-43. It's probably the biggest sham of judging I've ever seen in the sport ever. But anyway, he should have won the round just that one time he laid on his back. But it just depends on how Nick Diaz is doing. We don't have a way to judge or compare how he's been possibly declining physically like we do with Robbie. It's a fast decline with Robbie when he got knocked out by Tyron Woodley. Way down, quick, you know, to where his last win was Donald Cerrone, you know, and we love Don Cerrone. He's a veteran. He's a legend, whatever. But it's not a great last win to have 4 years ago. So it was a close fight too. So we know Robbie's declining. We know the power doesn't seem to be there as much anymore. The tenacity doesn't seem to be there as much anymore. But I do know it's probably still there. It's the takedown defense, ridiculous takedown defense. There's no way in hell this fight's going to the ground unless Robbie Lawler wants to go to the ground, bro. This fight's staying standing, 100%. Nick Diaz is not going to be able to take Robbie Lawler down. He does not have a strong wrestling base. Robbie Lawler's got ridiculous takedown defense, working his whole career with Matt Hughes and those boys over there. The fight's going to stay standing the whole time, in my opinion. Huh?
Nick Diaz got a really good guard. You can't tell me if he don't pull guard and just starts hanging on Robbie Lawler.
Why would he pull guard though?
I mean, if that's his game plan. His game plan is I got to get it to the ground, and he tries to put him in a clinch. He tries to take him down. It ain't working. He puts his fucking legs up there, grabs a hold of him, and fucking hangs on him.
As long as Nick's still got the cardio, man, I could definitely see Nick outboxing Robbie. So I think probably the game plan is going to be to make it a fun stand-up fight where you tease him up, but I don't know, man. The Ben Askren submission, Askren's a crazy good wrestler. He was able to finally drag it down. Robbie almost getting out of position, left his neck exposed to that bulldog choke. Not a jiu-jitsu kind of move. Definitely like a rough and tumble wrestling kind of move. Originally, the move's not even meant to be a choke, but it can be a choke if you squeeze hard enough, which Askren's got a ridiculous squeeze. I don't know, man. Super fun fight, though. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going with Robbie Lawler, one of my favorites all time, which sucks because, like I said, Nick Diaz loses. We lose out on a bunch of fun fights in the future. I don't think we really lose out on fun fights for Robbie because I think he's towards the end of it now anyway, so is what it is. Super fun fight. Probably my favorite fight in the card, actually.
Yeah, I think, and I'm going to touch on what you said. I think Robbie Lawler probably would have retired if the name wasn't Nick Diaz on the side of his contract. You know what I mean? I think that those are the type of fights Robbie Lawler's going to take, and if there's no fights like that for him, he's just going to retire. He's not going to stick around to climb his way back up in the rankings. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Nick. Nick's not going to be going for a title shot. He's going to be going for the grudge match with Masvidal, or they're calling out Khabib because they had that fight that one time in the fucking nightclub. McGregor because of his beef with his brother. Shit, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nobody that he previously had beef with still left. There's no Anderson Silva left. Chael's not fighting. None of those guys from that era really left. So I mean, he's got to kind of go off of beefs that Nate has, or just really big fights. So
yeah, the Lawler fight makes so much sense to come back to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being the rematch, the type of fighter Lawler is. What's that? Yeah, the 209 thing.
209 months since their last fight. Yeah,
that's dope. You couldn't have planned it better than that.
Yeah. Co-main event, though, we're going to jump into it. Valentina Shevchenko, Lauren Murphy. Tell me what you got. I think I know what you got, but tell me what you got.
Yeah, man. Super, super tough fight to predict. I mean, as far as the stats go, the roundedness of the skill, the high-level striking, grappling, judo, BJJ. I got Valentina Shevchenko any day of the week. She's going to beat the absolute dog shit out of Lauren Murphy. Really bad. I really don't see any way at all Lauren Murphy competes in this fight other than just surviving. I think Lauren Murphy's super tough, never been finished. She's only ever lost by decision to some of the best. Been fighting pretty high-level competition since early on in her career. I looked into her background a little bit. She started taking her son to jiu-jitsu back in 2009, fell in love with it, started competing MMA 3 months later. And then in 3 years from that point, went, I think, 7-0 before she's in the UFC. So like 3 years into training, she's in the UFC. So got a lot of heart. We've seen the time again. She's super tough. Can't be finished. But Shevchenko, man, she's an assassin. Like Joe Rogan says, she's like the real life Black Widow from Marvel movies. She can kick your head off. She can box your head off. She can take you down and put you in a crucifix and beat you up there. She can submit you. She can judo, hip toss you. I mean, she can do everything. She's like, as far as her skill set, she's like Ronda Rousey plus Holly Holm, put together, which is ridiculous. And in my opinion, she is the female GSP in terms of skill, being so well-rounded, being exemplary in all facets of the game. Easy fight for Shevchenko, as usual.
Yeah, I like everything you said. I mean, there's no easier way to put it. Besides, she is just one of the best well-rounded women's fighters there is. I don't think Lauren Murray, I mean, just a few stats I'll throw out. Her biggest wins in her career are over Joanne Calderwood and Roxanne Modafferi. You're not fucking with Shevchenko, you know what I'm saying? She got a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, not fucking with Shevchenko. I'm going to pick Shevchenko, and I'm going to take this time to look out and say, hey, Lauren Murphy, if for some magical reason you're watching this, go fuck yourself. You're a bitch. And Shevchenko's going to fuck you up, you stupid, ugly-looking rat bitch. Anyway,
Oh my God,
main event.
Jesus Christ.
Alexander Volkanovski, Brian Ortega. Who you got?
There we go. On to the one that's hard to predict. Man, you go first on this one, man. You go first. I want to hear what you got to say first before I make a prediction.
I'll hit the stats. Volkanovski, 22-1, his only loss to Corey Nelson in one of his first fights, one of like fourth pro fight. 9-0 in the UFC. Won the title against Max, defended it against Max. Fights before that were kind of key fights that he won: Darren Elkins, Chad Mendez, Jose Aldo. 11 knockout wins on his career. Going up against Ortega, who was 15-1-1. Only loss was a doctor stoppage loss to Max Holloway, who Volkanovski beat twice. I know MMA math doesn't always work, but I mean, come on. That was in 2018. His only fight since then was a decision win over the Korean Zombie. That was, a little over a year ago now, or a little under a year ago, somewhere around there. He's got 7 wins by submission. He's first-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. I don't think he's going to be able to utilize it because Volkanovski's wrestling is way when it comes down to jiu-jitsu versus wrestler, I always say good jiu-jitsu is always neutralized by really good top pressure wrestling. So, when it becomes this high of level, it kind of depends on how good you are at certain styles. And I think Volkanovski's style is going to outmatch Brian Ortega's style. Standing up, I don't even think it's close. I think Volkanovski's got the power advantage. He's got the maybe not the quickness, maybe not the volume, but he's got the power. He's definitely got, I don't want to call it precision, but I want to call it like, he finds his shots better than Ortega, I would say, as far as boxing goes. I haven't really looked at Ortega's kicks that much to see how his kicks are. But when it comes to hands, I got Volkanovski all day long. All day long.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there on the hands. Volkanovski, striking-wise, I think he's smart if he keeps it standing the entire fight. I think he's smart if he does not ever go for a takedown, even if it's a close fight like he did with Max. Ortega will lock you up in a submission so quick off his back. It's ridiculous. Triangle to armbar, and he can chain them together like it's nothing. Like he's rolling through butter. So Volkanovski definitely needs to keep it standing. I think you were right about the accuracy. He's got a higher rate of accuracy because he throws the type of strikes that typically land. He doesn't try to take your head off. He doesn't throw wild flurries. He only throws the ones that are high percentage chance to land, like certain types of lead leg kicks and jabs and things like that. But man, I think I want to disagree with you about Ortega's ability to lock him up in a submission of some sort or a grappling exchange. I think Ortega has a really good ability to lock you up in the clinch position and potentially even grab onto your neck like he did against Cub Swanson. He locked up on Cub Swanson while standing and then got him in the guillotine standing, basically hanging off of him, and then was even able to change his grip while hanging off of him to get it tighter. So I think that ability is definitely there. Probably a tougher thing to do against a short guy like Volkanovski. When I'm looking at this fight, man, I see two guys who are probably truly two of the probably 3 best in the world of that weight class. It's not like the Lauren Murphy-Shevchenko fight where I think Lauren Murphy's not even close. I really think the fight could go either way. It just depends. Both are killers. Both have the ability to finish. Both obviously now have the ability to go to decision and win a smart technical fight. What we saw from Brian Ortega against Korean Zombie, we saw an Ortega that was calculating, an Ortega that could strike, not just submit. He was able to outstrike Korean Zombie, which was really, really a tough task. So even timing some really awesome strikes like that spinning elbow, timed it perfectly. Very strategic fight. I think if he tries that slow pace, strategic, wait for my right shot type of fight with Volkanovski, he's getting his leg kicked off all fight. He's getting jabbed up all fight. And it's going to be a long night of getting beat in the striking department. So definitely tough to call. I think Ortega has ways to finish it standing or on the ground. I think Volkanovski has the edge in volume and footwork and movement and speed, and should be able to, with the right game plan, kind of keep away. Don't let him grab me up and kick him in the legs, jab him in the face, and wait for my power shots to win the fight by decision. I'm leaning towards Volkanovski by decision. That being said, I could certainly see Ortega finishing the fight. I don't really see Ortega winning by decision.
Yeah, I want to say something about the Cub Swanson thing, and I want to see what your opinion is on it. I know neither one of us is kind of an expert when it comes to martial arts or kind of any form of it, but
sure.
We have a pretty good idea of it from how often we
John
watch
Eddick.
it. A little bit. So where he's got that choke in with Cub Swanson standing up, why I think Volkanovski wouldn't necessarily get caught by something like that is because of his wrestling background and because, wrestling guys have to have a good understanding of leverage. So in my mind, what the Cub Swanson thing is, you got a guy hanging from your neck and choking you with the bottom part of your arm, right? So standing, no good. Because standing, you're pretty much choking yourself because you got the guy hanging from your neck. You go to the ground, you kind of pressure him, you get your chest to chest, you make sure that he can't elevate his hips to pull back and choke on you, and then you just get out of his guard. You kind of swim your way out of his guard, and I think that's what Volkanovski would be able to do better than Cub Swanson in a situation like that because of how much top pressure he has as a wrestler.
No, that's a good point for sure. Seriously, good point. Cub doesn't have that wrestling background, or even to think that way. Potentially in the moment. Great point. But if that's all Ortega has to do to get the fight down into his world on the mat, off his back, or Volkanovski gets out of that initial guillotine, exactly how you said, which would be the right thing to do. I think even just slamming him down is going to allow like a split-second moment to just slip out immediately. But now you're down in his world. Now he's throwing up his legs. Now he's trying to roll you over, get on top. Good point though. I really couldn't see something like that happen to Volkanovski, but I could see maybe it creating the grappling exchange, but maybe not actually being the submission finish. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I couldn't get it when Cub Swanson did it. When he just wasn't going down, he was standing up like, what are you doing? And then when he let go to regrip, it's like, dude, go down right now. He let go.
He's thinking, I think with the initial grip, he could tell it wasn't that tight. So he's thinking if I just stand, he's going to eventually slip off. But when he was able to re-secure it, I think he switched like gable grip or something. Standing puts so much more torque on. Now instead of his squeeze and his arch and like pulling down on your legs and like arching, it's his whole weight is pulling on your neck, like you said. So not the best move by Cub Swanson, but I agree. Volkanovski wouldn't make a mistake like that. I don't think so.
What do you got on sleeper fight?
Real quick before sleeper fight, I know you need to go and do the contender series thing, but Volkanovski did not beat Max Holloway twice. Max Holloway beat him in the second fight, I think, very clearly. And same time, I give Volkanovski credit for the tactics he used. He went for the takedowns late in the fight, tried to score some points in those close rounds, which the last two rounds were the more close rounds. I definitely have Max winning the second fight. I think it's a little bit disappointing that he's not the champion right now. I think he's the best fighter in the weight class. And I think he's going to beat whoever wins this fight if he doesn't fight Kika Chikadze first. Anyway, that's just my opinion. So I love Max Holloway. So going on to the sleeper fights, man, it's kind of tough. These prelim fights are great. You got like a lot of potential main card fights on these prelims. You got Merab Dvalishvili versus Marlon Moraes. You got, can't remember this dude's name for the life of me. Hold on one second. Shamil Abdurakhimov versus Chris Dawkins. Like Chris Dawkins a lot. Chris Dawkins is a really fun heavyweight to watch because he moves really well and he throws really quick hands. Dan Hooker versus Nasrat Haqparast, which we still don't know is going to happen. I think that's probably going to be the most fun fight on the prelims if it happens. At first, Dan Hooker was having the visa problems. Now I think he's gotten through that. But now Nasrat Haqparast is having the visa problems. So if he can't make it, then Dan Hooker went through all that struggle for the visa problems for no reason. I really hope that fight happens because that I think is going to be my sleeper fight. Dan Hooker versus Nasser Akparas. Be a banger of a fight. Super fun, fan friendly fight.
Hey, time out, Ian.
What's up?
I'm gonna put this in real quick. Tell me if you can't hear me no more or something. If something's fucked up, right?
All right.
You can still hear me?
You can hear me? Say something? Yeah, there's just a lot of
yeah, I can't. Come on, I can't hear you on there anyway.
The sound quality was nowhere near as good, but it's louder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
I don't know what the deal is this time.
Me neither. But my thing's lighting up good, like it's fine. I'm surprised you were even able to hear me off the mic because last time you couldn't hear me off of this, and then I started off this one, you could hear me.
Yeah.
But I just need to get a better headset. That's all it is. But
yeah.
What you got for sleeper fight prelims?
I got Nick Maximov, Carl Robinson. Carl Robinson had an extensive kickboxing career. Surprisingly enough, 4 out of his 9 MMA wins are via submission. He's a long, rangy type of fighter. Nick Maximov, 6-0, fighting out of Nick Diaz Academy. 23 years old, won his contract on the Contender Series. He has 3 submission wins, 2 knockouts out of his 6 wins. So only one of his fights going to a decision. I think it's going to be, he's leading up to his mentor Nick Diaz fighting in the main card. I think he has got something to prove. And Carl Robinson is a very, very good kickboxer, an even better point fighter. He's really good at landing his jab and his leg kicks to keep the fighter away. So I'm very excited to see what Nick Maximov has to offer in a fight against Carl Robinson.
Sweet, man. Definitely not going to miss that fight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. A lot of pressure on Maximov.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. See what happens with the pressure, man. Pressure either breaks you or creates diamonds, as they say.
Absolutely. Well,
I think that kind of wraps it up, man. Super great card we got. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Good card coming up. Everybody make sure to stay tuned. Come back next Tuesday. Me and Easy E previewing another motherfucker.
Every week.
All right, brother.
We out.